So friends, let's see today's lovely sanja recipe. So these are the few ingredients that we require. First, I have 1 cup of fine semolina or rava. This is 3 cups of water. Then I'm going to be using half a teaspoon each of mustard seeds, asafoetida, cumin and turmeric powder. Next, I have 1 medium onion that I've chopped fine. This is about 1/4 cup of cashew nuts, 1/4 cup of fresh coriander leaves, 7 to 8 curry leaves, 1 light green chili, 1/4 cup of green peas, the juice of half a lemon, clarified butter, salt and sugar to taste. And I'm also going to be using 1 teaspoon of urad dal or udid dal. So now I'm going to be heating a pan. Now once my pan is nice and hot, I'm going to add the semolina or the rava. And I'm going to roast this really well. Now if you're going to be using a cup measure, then you'll have to take 1:3, that is 1 cup of rava to 3 cups of water. Or if you're using a steel vati like this, then also it goes the same, 1:3. So I'm going to be heating the water and let it come to a very gentle boil on a low flame. Now we got to roast the rava or the semolina really well. So I did this for about 3 minutes on a very low flame, and you'll get the aroma of the rava. Now once the semolina or the rava is nicely roasted, you're going to transfer it to a bowl and you're going to clean your pan if you're using the same pan. Clean it very well so that with a clean cloth. And then again you put it on the heat and you're going to add 4 teaspoons of ghee or clarified butter. Now let the ghee get nice and hot on a low to medium flame. Once it heats up, we're going to add half a teaspoon of our mustard seeds or poori or rye. Let the mustard seeds begin to splutter. Once that happens, you're going to add half a teaspoon of jeera or cumin seeds. Next, I'm going to add the curry leaves. Now you can add the curry leaves whole or you can even chop them up. Try to use fresh curry leaves. Then I'm going to add the green chili that I've just chopped fine. We're going to add half a teaspoon of asafoetida or heenga, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi, because we're going to give this, it's going to give it a beautiful yellow color. Now we're going to add the udid dal, and now we're going to saute everything nicely. Fry the chilies really well so that it flavors the ghee. Now we're going to add our onion. So I've taken 1 medium-sized onion and chopped it fine. We're going to fry the onion till it gets nice and translucent. Now if your water has come to a boil, you can turn the heat off under the water that is boiling. But fry your onions really nicely. Then we're going to add the green peas. Now this is completely optional. If you have green peas, you can add it. Otherwise, it's okay if you skip it. Now we're going to add the cashew nuts. Now you can split the cashew nuts into 2 halves. Now we're going to add the roasted rava or the semolina that we had kept aside in the bowl. And now we're going to mix everything really well together. See that there's no white part of the semolina, left. It should be nice and yellow. Now we're going to flavor it with some salt to taste, and I'm also going to be adding a pinch of sugar. Again, mix the salt and the sugar in well. We need to roast everything, fry everything nicely so everything gets nicely mixed up together. So if you do it this way and follow the the steps, then you'll get this lovely light and fluffy and really delicious sanja. And now I'm going to add the hot water. Be extremely careful because it tends to splutter. So stand a little bit away from the pan and just pour this hot boiling water onto the semolina. Don't mix it. Immediately cover and cook this on a low to medium flame till the water evaporates. Keep an eye on it. Now you can see that all the water has gone away. So now we're going to just loosen this mixture very lightly. Keep the flame very low and just mix everything very, very gently. So you can see that it's almost cooked, but we need to keep it a little while longer. So loosen it up. And now again, I'm going to cover this and just cook it for about a minute on a very low flame. And now you can see that it's nice and light and fluffy. And you get a beautiful aroma of, all the ingredients come together. And now I'm just going to add some finely chopped coriander. Now what I do with my coriander or kothimber is I soak it in water with some salt, add it to it for about 10 minutes and then rinse it really well, dry it and then chop it up. So then add that too and mix it in really well. I also have a video on how I store my coriander. I'll leave a link below, how I clean it and how I store it. Now we're going to turn the flame off and we're going to add the juice of half a lemon. Now, a small tip over here, don't throw away these lemon seeds or lemon pips. What I do is I have a small pot in my kitchen window and I just keep, popping these seeds as and when I use lemon into the pot. That way I have a small little lemon tree growing in my pot. So don't throw away these seeds. You can just put them in any, pot that you have in your windowsill. That way you'll get a lovely lemon tree and, you can really use this. So just a small tip. So now once you add the lemon juice, remember our heat is off. Just mix in the lemon juice nicely so that it coats the entire, all of the semolina and the rava. And that's it, guys. Our sanja or sansa is all ready. And enjoy this with a lovely hot, piping hot cup of tea or coffee. Do try out this recipe and do leave your comments in the comment section below. I would love to hear from all of you. Take care, guys. See you in my next video. Bye. See today's lovely tomato omelette recipe, which is completely veg. So now I've taken a bowl. To the bowl, I'm going to add 1 cup of chickpea flour or besan and 1/4 cup of rice flour. Now I'm going to add salt to taste and mix the 3 dry ingredients really well together. Next, I'm going to be adding about 2 tablespoons of dahi. I will leave a link to how I make the dahi at home. You can also use ready-made dahi. Now I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of water and just whisk it all well together. Now I'm going to add about 2 more tablespoons and again whisk it. So we want a thick batter. We don't want a very runny dosa kind of batter, but we want a thick pancake kind of batter or ghavan kind of batter. Now next I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera from my spice box. Next I'm going to add half a teaspoon of ajwain or ova, 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, and half a teaspoon of turmeric or haldi powder and half a teaspoon of asafoetida or hing. Now whisk all of this really well together. Again, I'm going to add about just a 1/4 cup of water and again mix all the ingredients into the batter. Again, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of water. Basically, I'm looking for a thick pancake batter consistency. Now I'm going to add half a teaspoon of baking soda and about 1 tablespoon of oil and mix all of this really nicely together. Now keep your pan heating up if you're using an iron thick pan. And now I'm going to add 1 green chili that I've cut fine, 1 small onion that I've chopped fine. And since this is a tomato omelette, so I'm going to add 2 medium-sized tomatoes which I've chopped fine. I'm going to add also a quarter cup of fresh coriander that I've chopped, and now mix everything well. Now, if you're using a non-stick pan, you can heat it up just about 2 minutes before you start. But if you're using a heavy iron pan like the one I'm using, my dosa pan basically, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of the batter, and I'm going to spread it out, not very thin, not very thick, just like a pancake or a ghavan. So that it's evenly spread out. Keep your flame between low and medium. And now I'm just going to add a few drops of oil. You can also use ghee or clarified butter. Just a little, say about a quarter teaspoon. And then just swirl it around so that it goes all over the ghavan. Now we're just going to cover and cook it for half a minute. After half a minute, just loosen the edges. And then just flip it onto the other side and fry the other side as well. Now we're just going to fry it for about half a minute on this side. And then I'm just going to pour a few drops of ghee and then flip it over. That's completely optional. And now just transfer it to a serving plate. And in this way, you can make, all the tomato omelettes, or you can even store it in your refrigerator for a day or two. So with this batter, you get about 10 medium-sized tomato omelettes. See that it's fried well, so that your pan is nice and hot. And cover and cook it just for about half a minute. And you see that the edges become golden brown in color. That's the time you loosen it, flip it over. Just fry it for a little while on the other side too. So it will look like this on the top of the ghavan, or the tomato omelette rather. And this is the other side. And serve this with some ketchup or green chutney. This is a great snack item or a breakfast item, and it gets ready also very quickly. So do try out this recipe, and I'll catch you in my next video. This is Akshata signing off. Bye. Today's recipes of uttapam and the chutney. So first I will show you how to prepare this instant Rava uttapam or uttapa, and then I will show you how I prepare this very delicious yet very simple red chutney to go along with it. So now the ingredients are, I've taken 3/4 of a cup of very fine Rava or semolina, 1 cup of dahi. This is 1.5 teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of salt, and some water as required. Now first I'm going to put the rava into a bowl, add the salt and the baking soda, and I'm going to mix all of this well together. Then I'm going to add the dahi and mix it again, and then I'm going to add little water at a time, so I get a typical uttapa or dosa, a little thicker batter, not a very thick batter like an idli batter, but something which I can spread. And I'm going to let this sit for at least 20 to 30 minutes. Now our batter is ready. I have 1 small onion which I've chopped fine, 1 light green chili, some coriander, and I've taken some rasam powder with a little bit of salt. Now I've heated up my flat dosa tawa. I'm just going to put a ladle full of the batter, put a little bit of oil at the side, sprinkle a little bit of the rasam with salt mixture, the onions, the chili, the coriander, and I'm just going to let it cook. Now when the edges of the uttapa start to brown, just loosen up the uttapa and press it down, and then just flip it over. Put a little bit of ghee this time and let it cook for about half a minute or so. This gets ready really quickly. And then just loosen up the edges and let it fry for a little while. So each uttapa should take you about a minute or so to prepare. And that's it, friends. Then of course clean your tawa when you're putting the next one. Give it a little bit of a wipe with a nice clean cloth. And then again put a ladle full of that, spread it out like this. When it starts to bubble like this, then just put a little bit of oil, again the rasam and salt mixture.
Now, if you don't have rasam powder, you can also go with a little bit of sambar powder or mulgapudi or any regular chutney that powder that you have at home. Press it down a bit. Then you will see that the edges start to golden, to turn brown, golden brown in color. That's when you just loosen it up lightly. Now ensure that your tawa is really hot. That really helps in the uttapa getting cooked fast. And then once you flip it on, just drizzle a little bit of ghee on the top. And in this way, you can prepare your uttapam. Now with the quantity that I used, I got about 5 uttapas. So if you want more, then you can just double the quantity. So these are really delicious, very crispy, and they have a very nice flavor of their own. And now let's see how to prepare this lovely red chutney. This is super delicious and it goes so well with these uttapas or even with idlis, dosas. It's a real nice accompaniment and it's pretty simple. Now here I've taken half of a medium onion and just chopped it off roughly. Here I have about 4 small cloves of garlic, 2 dried red chilies, just 1 large tomato and half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. Now I also have soaked about half a tablespoon of tamarind or chinsa in about half a cup of water. Now once my pan is hot, I've added about 1 tablespoon of oil and I'm just going to add my garlic, my chilies, the onions, the cumin seeds, and I'm going to fry this till the onions are nice and translucent on a low to medium flame. Then I'm going to add my tomato, mix everything well, and then we're going to cover this for about half a minute till the tomatoes become nice and soft and mushy. Then turn off the flame and let the mixture cool completely. Then you add it to your mixer pot once it's completely cooled. Squeeze out the juice of the tamarind. Add that. Add a little salt to taste. And then we're just going to blend this entire thing to this smooth, lovely chutney. And that's it, friends. Our chutney is all ready. Isn't that really super simple? So I hope you give both these recipes a try. Do let me know in the comment section below how you liked both these recipes. Thank you. So friends, let's get started with today's instant Rava dosa and coconut chutney recipe. Now here I've taken exactly 1 cup of very fine Rava or semolina, 1 cup of rice flour. If you don't have rice flour, you can use maida, and half a cup of yogurt or dahi. And I'm also going to be using some salt to taste. Now I have a recipe of how to make your own dahi or curd at home. I will leave a link below. Now I'm going to add this semolina or this rava to my bowl, mixing bowl in which we're going to make our batter. Next I'm going to add my rice flour. Then we will add in the dahi or the curd. Next, we are going to add some salt to taste. And then we're going to mix all of this well. Now we're going to add a little water at a time. And we're going to whisk this till we get a very smooth and runny batter. We don't want a very thick batter like a dosa batter. We want a very runny batter. So your batter should have this kind of runny, liquidy consistency. Now we're going to cover and set this aside for at least an hour. Now we're going to heat our iron pan. And now when we're ready to make the dosa, see the batter, it is nice and runny like this. We're going to add in some light green chilies, some grated ginger, and some chopped up curry leaves. Now, I leave all the ingredients along with their exact measurements in the description box below. Now, ensure that your iron tawa or your dosa tawa that you use regularly is nice and hot. Now, we're just going to brush a little oil on the tawa. And we're going to stir the batter once and we're going to pour it in this manner, starting from the edges and then moving towards the center. And you have to get this kind of porous kind of a dosa. Now let the dosa cook really nice and well on a low to medium flame till the edges start to brown. So this should take you at least half a minute or sometimes even up to a minute. But this takes some time for the dosa to really crisp up. Now, if you don't want a very crispy dosa, then the minute the edges turn brown, you can flip it off. But if you want a real nice crispy rava dosa, then just wait for it to become nice and brown. And all the edges have to nicely brown up. Now you can see that all the edges have turned nice and brown. And now I can just loosen up the dosa and then flip it. Now we want to cook this on the lower side too for at least a little, at least half a minute or even less than half a minute, for a few seconds till it browns nicely on the lower side too. And then we're going to flip it and then just turn it in this fashion and serve it in your plate. So this is how you're going to just continue till you're done with the batter, or how many ever dosas you want to make. And our dosa is ready. And now I'm just going to show you a quick chutney recipe which you can make to accompany this dosa. It's very simple, friends. So here all I have used is some green chili, some lime, some chopped up garlic and some ginger, grated ginger. I'll leave all the instructions in the description box below. Some fresh grated coconut, some coriander, some salt and sugar. So I just added all of that to my mixer, and I'm just going to squeeze in the juice of half a lemon. And I'm just going to grind this, adding very little water, maybe just about a tablespoon or two, till I get this type of a coarsely ground chutney. And that's it, friends. Your instant rava dosa and coconut chutney is all ready. So you can make this for your breakfast and enjoy it.